If you're like me, vinyl records mean a lot to you. From sound to visuals to tangibility, it's an unmatched experience in today's scroll and click culture. And if it means a lot to you and I, imagine what it means to those who've put their own music to wax through the years.
There really is something pretty profound about holding a piece of vinyl that has your music on it for the first time.
I'm Jim Hankey, host and producer of Vinyl Emergency, a podcast where your favorite songwriters, producers, and other personalities talk about how the mere existence of vinyl has influenced their lives and careers. People like Roseanne Cash, Oscar nominee Michael Shannon, Hozier.
I remember falling in love with Hal Muff's The London Sessions.
Adam Duritz, Ben Gibbard, Lisa Loeb.
As I was going through my records, I didn't realize I forgot I had Andy Warhol sign it.
Plus members of REM, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Run DMC, and more.
The arts succeeds where politics and religion fails.
Vinyl is more than just the music that's on it. It's also the memories, legends, and science that made it in the first place.
Streaming will never kill the true record makers. You can't stop thinking side one and side two, even if the world doesn't care. It's in their blood.
Find Vinyl Emergency on your preferred podcast app today and give us a follow on Instagram at Vinyl Emergency.
Welcome to the Imperfect Dads Podcast. This is your host, Devin. We believe dads care deeply about their family and kids, but they don't always have a space to discuss what their life looks like. Our podcast is a space for dads to discuss the ups and downs of fatherhood and how they feel like they're holding it together or how they're not. Thank you for joining us for this episode. This podcast is part of the Never a Face Network. Make sure to follow them on Instagram or go to the website neverafacenetwork.com. On this episode, we have on musician Christopher Lee Lewis from the band The Kinison. We talked about his kids learning to drive, both being from the Midwest, coming to terms with your hometown, moving to California to play music, his current day job, getting the band back together, and playing their first show in 21 years at the Glass House on May 29th. Just like one more thing.
Dad, just start the episode.
Oh, my bad.
Tell me some basics, like how many kids you got, ages, all that good stuff.
I have two children. I have a 15-year-old daughter and a 17-year-old son. He's not my biological son, but we that's not mentioned in our household. He's just my guy. He's my son. So yeah, I live in Southern California, greater Los Angeles area, north of LA. I was in the city, and decided the schools are really good out in the suburbs. So we moved out of the city, 10 or 11 years ago. It's just, so the kids could be in better schools.
Yep. I completely understand that. I have three kids. I have pretty much 10-year-old, 8-year-old, and 4-year-old. It goes daughter, son. And yeah, I know the next 15 years of my life are just focused around how do I get kids through schools, and I don't want to pay for private school. And I just want something that as I get older, how boring I want to be, it's very fascinating to me. Let's just be stable. Let's get kids through school. Life will have its own drama. I don't want to tip the scale one way or the other.
Yeah, my daughter does go to private school, but that was not my doing. It's a legacy school that her mother's all the entire family went to. So I got talked into that. It's a great school.
I have friends who have that also, where they went to school, their parents went to school, and sure, if this makes life easier just for this kid to go to the school, I think other options might be okay. But you know what? Let's just do this. This is fine. This makes life easier for everyone.
Totally. And like I said, it's a legacy school. So my daughter's teachers taught her aunts and uncles. And then even some of her uncle's friends are now instructors at the school. So one of her instructors is her art teacher who went to school with her, went to high school with her uncle. So it's
it matters. Yeah, I get it.
It does. She feels comfortable there.
That's awesome. That's great. Have you taught your kids how to drive yet? Have you had to do that experience?
My son, yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got his permit at 15 and a half, and that was my job. My wife, my wife's from India, so
Okay.
she learned to drive on the other side of the
Yes.
road, and that has not fully escaped her yet. So
hmm
she still struggles with that from time to time. So as soon as the permit happened, that job was delegated to me, and I absolutely loved it. I
Did you?
thrived on it. I
Okay.
feel like I wasn't nervous. I feel like I was a fantastic drive instructor. Like I felt like I was a really laid back, good teacher, unjudgmental, and just kind of let him figure it out and navigate, through. It was an awesome experience. And funny enough, my daughter got her permit last week, but she
Nice.
has to take one in California. You have to take one instruction from an actual school before you can drive with your parents. So that's Saturday. So Sunday will be my first experience with my daughter behind the wheel. So this is it. Your question is poignant as hell, poignant and relevant as hell. So my son, he's been driving a full year now,
Yeah.
still restricted, but and then my daughter will, like, Sunday we'll have our first time together. Although last year, I'm originally from Southern Illinois, like literally a village of 1,200 people. So it's tiny. So I went home last year for a week and just to hang out. It'd been a while. My mom has an old beater car, and I was just driving it around while I was home, and I didn't have to rent a car. And we were just driving through my little town, and I pulled over and I told my daughter, just do it, just get in. And I
Yeah.
let her, she was only 14, but I let her just cruise around my small town illegally. And
That's awesome.
I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, if we get pulled over,
No.
we'll just deal with it.
It'll be fine. Where
Yeah,
I'm from Southern Indiana originally. I'm from Evansville.
No way.
Yeah. Where are you from?
So I'm from Oblong, Illinois, which you probably haven't heard of, but it's close.
No, I haven't.
It's close to Effingham, sort of
Okay,
close
cool.
to Effingham.
Yeah. I had a friend whose grandparents lived in Decatur, and I remember going to Springfield, Illinois to go watch a show because someone was playing the Performing Arts Center. And yeah, driving around Southern Illinois, going to Garden of the Gods or something like that. Your daughter could have driven on those back highways and not seen a soul for an hour, and you would have been
Absolutely.
fine.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. So we're kind of kin then. What may I ask how old are you?
I'm 38.
Okay, I'm 42, so I'm a little
Okay,
I'm a
yeah.
little older.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I think I love being from the Midwest because I'm very proud to be from Indiana. I'm literally wearing a Pacers shirt or hoodie currently. But you might relate to this of I love being from there, but I'm good to not live there.
I share the same exact sentiment. The essence and the soil and the way that the Midwest feels, like when I go home, it feels so comforting, but I can't spend more than 5 or 6
Yep.
days there, and I gotta get out. And it just
Yeah.
strange that it does feel antiquated in a way where the mindset of people is 50, 60 years behind, but you can't deny the way it makes you feel, seeing the buildings that driving past your high school or whatever. It feels a certain way. It's beautiful. It's genuine, but I gotta get out.
Same. Anytime. Yeah, I can spend maybe a week and a half back home if I need to, but that's because of grandparent help also, because my kids are a little younger. So it makes sense for that. But oh, dude, if I had teenagers, my kids would be like, oh, I was a teenager in my hometown. They'd be like, so what is there to do? And you're just drive around, listen to music real loud, maybe hang out in a Walmart parking lot. That's about all there is to
That's
do here.
exactly right. My trip home last summer was the most successful one I've had in years, and the reason why is because I did not stay at my parents' house. I got an Airbnb, and I had my mom's car, so it changed the entire dynamic of the trip. Being able to go back and recover and rejuvenate, especially also for my teenage daughter, she could go, get her shit together,
Yeah, of
not
course. No. Well, I mean,
and rejuvenate.
as an adult, like I structure my day of like, I'm going to do stuff. I'm going to be active. I'm going to be focused on stuff from realistically 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. But between like 9 and 11 p.m., I don't want to think about anything. I want to zone. I want to watch TV. And like when you're at your parents' house, like I want to like connect with them and I want to do that. So then like you end up burning yourself out. But we've done that before also. We moved from Nashville to Colorado like 2 years ago, and we spent a month in Evansville, and we rented an Airbnb for that month. Just because my parents were like, we were waiting for like the house to sell, wanted to be within driving range and everything. And my parents were like, yeah, you can stay in town. We're like, we're going to get an Airbnb. Is that cool? And they're like, nope, totally get it. You guys, it's good to have your own space, good to have your own time to reset and then come back to it. And like, we won't be on top of each other. So like, we're not offended. But like, some part of me was like, is this offensive if I, like, you guys know I like you, and that's not part of this, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a friend from my hometown, and his mom refuses to let him stay elsewhere, and it causes friction. But there was something so great of like saying your nightly goodbye, 7 p.m., hug, love you, see you in the morning. And then like having that fresh mindset the next day, you know, because regardless, great childhood, bad childhood, whatever, there's still like, those are your parents, and that can bring up feelings and
of course
memories and, you know, sentiments, whatever. And so that ability to recharge, like unplug, plug back in, like it was so successful. I was like, I'm doing this from now on. When I come visit, I'm staying somewhere else.
Also, like an Airbnb in Southern Illinois or Southern Indiana, not that bad. Like trying to get an Airbnb out here in Denver for like a month is like a mortgage, basically. I think when we did in Evansville for that month, it was half the cost of our mortgage for the same amount of like time to live somewhere.
Yeah, the place we stayed at was brand new. It was I looked it up on Zillow. It had been built like 10 months prior, and it was like $400 for the week. It's like, it's insane. Yeah,
that's so good. That's the thing that like when we moved, we made the mistake of looking at how much money we made off of our house from selling it in Nashville, and then looked at housing prices in Southern Indiana and realized we could probably buy
no
like a 5,000 square foot house, you know, like all that. But then the entire time I'd sit there and be like, just antsy, just boy, it whatever reason your hometown, well, I love it. It's still some form of like, I left here. Okay, I'm still here. What am I doing here? So that's my own ego, though.
Yeah, there's a reason why you left. There's a reason why we didn't stick around. You know.
Yeah. How long have you been out in LA for? What brought you out there?
I have been in total about 23, 24 years. I moved, somewhat manipulated my high school guidance counselor. Like the first day of my senior year, I walked in and I was like, "Hey, here's the deal." And like we had a good rapport. I loved her. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna like quit, or I need to graduate early." And she's like, because I was a musician, I had already been performing for years. Like I started performing really young, and we were already gigging and recording records. And I was like, it's just not that important to me because I already know what I want to do, but I would like to get my diploma, but it's not important. So if you can work with me, let's do it. Otherwise, like, let's just wrap this up and I got to get going. So she like moved some things around and changed a math credit. And then I was done in December. So I graduated 6 months early. And
nice.
Not long after, the entire band moved to California, and we moved to the Riverside Redlands area, and that was our home base. And I went back for like, I had a rough patch in my mid-20s. So I went back to Illinois for about a year to like, get my stuff in line.
Yep.
Beyond, but like in total, I've been in Greater Los Angeles. For like 23, 24 years.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah. It's funny. I went to Belmont for undergrad and have like tons of friends who were there, and they'd start getting gigs on the road and stuff. And they'd be like, "Hey, I don't really want to show up to my math class because I came to the school to learn how to be a gigging guitarist, and I've got a gig as a guitarist. So I'm glad you're able to work out how to like still get your high school degree and stuff." I have a couple of friends who they had to go back to college because they're like, I'm kind of embarrassed I didn't finish my college degree and like all of that. But like, dude, if you've got the path in front of you to like do the thing you want to do with your life, like, and also music is so like, hey, you have the opportunity now. Like in a month from now, no one might want to hire you. So it's like, cool. If people want me, I gotta get out there, gotta try it out now.
Exactly. How I laid out, I remember being in 7th grade and almost like prophesizing, like laying out exactly how it was going to happen. And it almost was exactly right. Like
Nice.
it happened exactly how I said. Like I was like, I'm
Nice.
going to, move to California. I'm going to get a record deal. I'm going to tour the world. I'm going to put out
Yeah.
albums. And that's what happened. I mean,
Hell yeah.
and that's what's odd is that in the moment as it was happening, I didn't take the time. I didn't like take the step back to necessarily appreciate because I just thought this is exactly what I was going to do. It's kind of strange now looking back on that time. Like we played main stage Coachella, we did
Dude.
main
Yeah.
stage Warped Tour 2 years in a row. But I was
Yeah.
like looking back is that's nuts, but
It is.
that's just what I thought was going to happen. And it did,
What talk about the confidence of like a 17 and 18-year-old. It's like, no, I want to play the main stage Warped Tour. I'm going to play the main stage Warped Tour. And it's like, I mean, their bands have been bands for like 20 to 30 years who are still hoping to play the main stage Warped Tour.
The ignorance, and the ignorance, but the confidence, like the combination of those two, and just having no real world knowledge, especially being from like a podunk place where I'm from,
Yep.
like we knew nothing,
Yeah.
like we
Yes.
came out and we had like a certain chip on our shoulders, like this Midwestern blue collar, like
Mhm.
like these like really punk kids, but we were so naive. Like, I mean, I can say I appreciated it, but I probably didn't. Not as I should have.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't know, like, because I think of like the Get Up Kids are all the bands from like Lawrence, Kansas, and Kansas City. They at least had like a hub, they had a major city to go to. Like, your closest major city was probably St. Louis or like Chicago. So
Indianapolis.
Like,
Indianapolis. Yeah,
Yeah.
Indy is like 2 hours. St. Louis is like 2.5.
Okay.
But like the bands we liked didn't really hit Indy, so
Yep.
we would have to
Trust me,
go.
I know. Yep.
Yeah, I'm
So
sure you
that's
do.
I do. That's another thing though, is like, yeah, like if you would have been in a different area of the country or the Midwest, you could have gone to like a college town where it has like a really good like music scene and stuff. So like, no, you were like on your own in Southern Illinois, being like, I know I have a dream, I'm going to follow it. F it. Let's move out to LA and see what happens.
Exactly. Yeah, we had just missed. We were just too young to so we missed. There was like a small scene. You probably know like American football and Hum or
Yeah.
whatever from
Yep. Near
Champaign.
Champaign. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just like an hour and 45 minutes north of us.
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
there was a scene at one point, but we missed it by a few years. We were so young that we weren't part of that scene. So
Mhm.
yeah, we had to gig like in St. Louis or Chicago, or like we would drive to Cincinnati or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
We didn't really play indie. This didn't like Emerson Theater wasn't our scene.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, Indy for me was like 4 hours away from my hometown. So like, I remember driving up to like the Egyptian Room at like the Marat Theater to see like the Get Up Kids or like Ben
Yes.
Folds and like a couple of bands, but like
Yes.
and Ben Queller. But like for the most part, like it was either needed to drive to Nashville or hope Warped Tour was coming to Indianapolis. Those are my two options to see bands I wanted to see. That was about it.
Totally.
And also like,
Yeah.
I know like in the 90s, because yeah, like American Football Parade, all those guys went to Champaign and were in that college town. But most of them either like American Football was only supposed to have one album. Like they weren't meant to have one. So like they broke up the band in like 99, then like got married, went to college, moved to Chicago. So like literally would have like doubled or tripled the
Yes.
distance to go be with that music scene.
Right. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. But I've been to Marat like many times.
Yep.
I liked that place, but
I like it. I haven't been there probably in a good 20 years, but like
same.
I still only have like positive memories of it.
Same. But I just remember the like Emerson was more new metal. There were like bands like Dent were playing and like Spine Shank was playing. And we're like, nah.
I mean, yeah, that was I don't know how to explain to my kids. Like most of the music that was available to me in my hometown was a grungy VFW hall basement that was all cement and someone's bass amp turned up to 20, even though it only went to 10. And just feeling like taking about 3 days for my body to recover from the amount of low end my body just absorbed.
Yeah. Absolutely. Did you ever make it to Terre Haute to see like
I didn't. No. Terre Haute is also like one of the most depressing towns ever. Like it's just sad. It just feels like
Tell
a
me
sad
about
town
it.
to me.
Tell me about it. Yeah, that's where we had to go because my town's so small. If we wanted to buy a CD or go see a movie, we had to go to Terre Haute. Like if
My
I needed
gosh,
new
that's
shoes,
small. That's small. Yep.
yeah, that's our city, like our hit place. You had to drive an hour
Yeah.
to go buy Vans in Terre Haute. Like how depressing.
That's also so like Midwest that like I cover people like I remember when I went to college, people from like Northern Kentucky would be like, "Oh, I drove to Evansville for our fancy dates," and I'm like,
Yes.
"Okay, got it. Good to know." What do you do nowadays for a living? Like, what's your day job now? Are you still doing music, or have you kind of pivoted away?
I do music, but my day job, I work in software. I'm an operator. What's my actual title? It is a senior director of operations.
Nice.
So it's a software company, but I'm not a programmer.
Okay.
I'm like the liaison. I do testing. Like I run the company and from literally like an operational point of view. Like I just do, we're small, like we're under 20 employees. We're worldwide. Like we have like quite a reach, but we're fully remote. So I sit right here and I work and that provides the autonomy and the agency to write or make music or, like I'm able to rehearse or whatever. Like, it's a really cool laid back company. Like any other job, it can be stressful, but there is a ton of agency. There's like, we don't clock in. We don't necessarily report to anyone except the CEO. So I've been here for like about 8 years.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of locked in. Yeah. But I'm still able to do music in 2020. I released an album. 2023, I released an album. Then I released a double album in 2024.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess this podcast will be coming out after, and then my band, like the reason that I'm in California, the Kinison, we are reuniting this year, and that announcement will be it'll be next week.
Yeah.
This will be out, but yeah.
My turnaround isn't that quick. I can't.
yeah.
Whenever you record, do you like do stuff at home or do you actually have like a recording studio that you go to?
I've done both. So I was in a band. I started a band called Lewis, like my last name. And so I was the singer, songwriter for that band itself. So in 2020, I put out an album called Sun on the Floor with a band, with a producer named Paul Fig. Paul has done like tons of records that he was in the band Amen. He's produced Alice in Chains, Cohen Cambria, engineered Deftones.
Yeah,
so
one of those
he produced.
guys.
Yeah, exactly. He engineered that album, and then I've known him so long, and we like clicked. He actually ended up joining the band, and so he became the guitarist. And then we wrote and released another album in 2023 together under that moniker Lewis.
Cool.
But then I just had a ton of songs, like hundreds of songs that I was just sitting on. Mm-hmm. And so those to clarify, those two albums were done in his studio, Dave's Room in North Hollywood, like professionally, like his
That's
legit.
Cool. Yeah.
And then I had all these all these demos I had written that were really personal. So I literally just like compiled my favorite 24 tracks or whatever and just recorded those at home and released those under just my name, Christopher Lee Lewis, and released them like 6 weeks apart. It's a double album, but it was like a surprise, like, hey, here's an album, and then 6 weeks later, here's another album, but they're parts one and two. So I did, that was 2024.
With like your mental space and stuff, if you've got like, I mean, I guess your kids are older, so they don't need you as much. Do you have to like, is it easy for you to get into like a creative mind space in which you are able to like write songs? Because like my kids are younger. If I'm like go write a chord progression in the middle of strumming a chord, a kid asks me for a cup of milk. So like I have no mental space to like do that. Are you at a place in your life where like that mental space capacity is like not that difficult for you to get into?
I am. Like you said, my children are older. They're self-sufficient. They can grab their own dinners. One's driving like to the gym.
Yeah.
So, but you're right that when my daughter was younger, music was really difficult. Like to even organize like a jam session and we lived in a a condo, like a 2-story condo, but it was open, so it's like open floor plan. So like she may be upstairs, but
Yeah.
if I'm trying to write,
Yeah.
she could hear it. So it really took, that's why probably that it wasn't until 2019 before I started like taking it seriously again. So she would have been 9 or 10, right? So like once they get older, you're able to, they have more agency, and you're not gonna wake them up if you want to dig in or something.
Yeah. No, like my basically 10-year-old, like, yeah, if she goes to bed at like 9:30 or 10, like I know she might be a little grumpy tomorrow, but she'll be okay. If my 4-year-old goes to bed at like 9:30 or 10 and then wakes up at the same time the next day, that day's a waste. Like it's me arguing with him the entire day to take a
All
nap,
day.
to close his eyes. And so like then to go from that mindset of like policing someone basically to be like, hey, go write something very emotional and vulnerable. I'm like, no. My vulnerability right now is that I'm not happy.
I'm spent. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I also do love like I've talked to a couple of musicians where like that's the reality of like once they started having kids that were like, hey, I gotta I gotta slow down in my creative endeavors because like my kid's only gonna be these young ones. And realistically, like it's freaking expensive to have a young kid. So like being out on the road, all that stuff is like not, it's hard to make it seem like it's worth it.
Yeah. Kinison has only really agreed to, at this moment, one show, but we're exploring the options. Maybe there is maybe that we do the festival circuit, maybe we do a 2 or 3 week tour. We don't know, right? We're just kind of, we've agreed to do this, and it's been nice, but this is the first time in my daughter's life that I do have the ability that if we booked a tour, I could go out for 3 or 4 weeks, and that would be okay. Now I wouldn't have the shame or the guilt like I'm leaving her. Like she's old enough to like understand. Also, we go to shows together. We have like, so, and she's also in that world. Her mom's side of the family, they're entertainers. So like she sells merch for her grandpa and stuff. So like, yeah. So she's entrenched in that, and I don't know if necessarily like she plays guitar, but I don't necessarily know that if she wants to go into the creative side, but she has a love of film and music, and she's kind of like kicking that around, possibly doing scores or soundtracks or she's only 15, but I like I don't see myself in her, but I see that things are starting to click, like, oh, this could be an option, to like, my uncles do it, my grandfather does it, my dad does it. I could see myself possibly doing that. It's amazing. It's amazing, like hearing a guitar strum from the other room and not tracking the progress and being like, oh, that's her.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's nuts. You don't,
that's cool.
because you're not keeping tabs. You don't want to influence too much. That's so important in my household, and especially for me. And I've probably already mentioned it 5 times. Just the independence, the agency. Like letting people be themselves, unjudgmental. So she on her own picked up the guitar, no influence of me. Now I'm here if she has questions, right? But it's best for me to just let her figure it on her own, and then to be like shocked when you're like, oh my god, that's an Oasis song. I know. Like I recognize that. Like it's really cool.
That is, yeah. My kids don't care about music too much. I play like guitar. I feel like I'm like a Chris Walla or Death Cab for Cutie piano player, where I can do the most simplest piano parts ever, and they sound pretty. And like my oldest daughter will like, she loves Taylor Swift, so she's like, how do I play this Taylor Swift song on piano? I'm like, here's what you do, and then I just leave her alone.
Sure.
I'll like write down the notes, and then she rewrites my notes because my handwriting is so bad, and then I just try to like keep her younger siblings away. Because the second they hear piano being played, they run up and slam all the keys on it. And I'm like, no, stop it. So, no, same. Like, my parents kind of did that for me whenever I play guitar. Like, hey, here's a guitar, mess around with it. If you start taking it seriously, like, we'll pay for lessons. Like, we're okay with that. But, like, just you figure out what you want to do with it and know that we think it's cool. And, like, that's kind of what I'm trying to repeat for my kids. It's like, hey, if you want to play guitar, if you want to play piano, I know how to do this and I know how this world works. But also, the second I start telling you to do it, you're not going to do a damn thing with it.
Exactly. They have to figure it out on their own. They have to learn on their own.
Yeah.
Because even though we're probably pretty cool dads, we're chill.
Yeah.
Like the second we start lending advice, they're like, nah.
Yeah. We're still dads, even if we're not like the type A. You gotta like. The second I'm like, hey, do you want to hear another cool chord progression? Hey, do you know this is in a minor key? Let me show you another song that's in the same minor key
Right.
that I think you'll like. Then they'll just be like, I don't really care. And I'm like, but also, don't you want to like listen to Joan Baez? I feel like if you like Taylor Swift, you'd be inspired by. No, okay, cool. All right, cool. Never mind. That's on me. My bad.
Yeah, no, that happened to me, I guess, not long ago. My daughter and I went to see Kendrick Lamar together, and it was like just amazing experience. Like we
Hell
had,
yeah.
like I got a Cash App credit card so I could get the pre-sale.
Yeah.
Jumped through all the hoops, and I got
Yep.
We got front, like literally front row seats. So it was
Dude.
Kendrick Lamar and SZA, and it
Hell
was
yeah.
like just a beautiful experience. Like seeing, like
Yeah.
she loves SZA, and we both like Kendrick Lamar.
Mhm.
And then I remember like a new song came out, and I was so excited to show her, like, oh, I can't, like, I'm gonna share this with her, you know. And then I send her the the new Kendrick Lamar, and she's like, whatever. And I was like, I had to hide that my feelings were hurt, you know. Like I can't express that, like,
You can't.
oh, you got me. I was so
No.
excited to share this with you, and
But
it's
that's how
like,
like most parenting feels. Is like, I mean, sadly, getting older as an adult trying to make friends is also like this. Of like, hey, this is going to be a connection point, right? Like, whenever you said you like this is a connection point now, right? And someone looks at you and goes, "What the hell are you talking? What are you talking about?" And you're like, "That's fine. I don't like." Even like you talking about American football, I'm like, "Oh, do you want to talk about Mike Kinsella's like solo career? Do you want to talk about Owen? Do you want to talk about Joan of Arc?" Then I'm like, Devin, calm down. You're gonna come on way too strong with this poor man. Calm it down, dude.
I think we're similar in that sense. I want to do that too, but then I think like I'm pushing too hard, and then what will happen is later I will overanalyze everything and think like, oh, that guy hates me. I annoyed him.
Yeah.
I
And
bumped him out.
all it is you got excited about, maybe you got to talk about a subject, and then you jumped off the diving board, and they didn't even know there was a pool, and you're over here being like, no, seriously, you don't want to discuss, like, come on in, it's great, let's talk about Lawrence, Kansas in like 1999 to 2005, guys, let's do this, you know.
Come in the pool.
Come on, it's great. You don't know how to swim, I'll teach you.
I have floaties.
We'll be fine, man.
I have pool noodles, trust me.
Yes. Yeah, but that's how I do feel like it feels that way with your kids, where you're constantly hoping to connect with the full knowledge that they're your kids, so they don't want, like, I think there's an age where your kids don't want your approval, and then it comes back to they do want your approval, but you're also like in the years of like your daughter and son are both just like, cool, man, sounds good, and you're like, I know something, guys, come on.
Yes.
I'm not that useless.
Yeah. I've lived 42 years. I know a little bit about what's going on.
One or two. And when it comes to obscure music and Guitar Zone, I know a lot. So just keep that door closed. That's what I'll say to some people sometimes. Like, hey, just so you know, like if I open this door, I'm gonna talk a lot. So just let me know. Should I just keep this door closed about obscure subjects that only I care about? Probably.
That's fair. That's transparent and fair.
It is. What about like with your son? Is he just kind of like doing his own thing? Is he gonna start college? Have you started having all those conversations?
Yeah, he's like me, but in a literal 180 different approach. He's skipped his junior year, so he's also graduating early. But because he is like, I don't want to, not to gloat, he's very intelligent. Sure, it comes from his mom, but he's into physics. He's analytical, and so he came to us in 7th grade, and he said, "Hey, there's a program where like I can get my license early if you follow under this criteria." And it was like making under a certain amount, and like we didn't, like we made more than that, you know. So he was like trying to get us to like get his driver's license in like 8th grade so he could start attending the junior college, right?
Dude.
Yeah, so he's been taking classes at the junior college for, I mean, I guess this is his 3rd year. So he skipped his junior year. He's halfway through his senior year, and then at the same time taking college courses on the side. So he's incredibly driven, self motivated. Like this isn't pushed. And, you know, like I mentioned, my wife she is, she's Indian, but like she's not a helicopter parent at all. So this isn't the push isn't coming from her. This
I
is
gotcha.
just
Yeah.
him
Man.
self-motivated, want to do his own thing,
It's fascinating because like you clearly were also self-motivated at the same age or had a dream of some sort, but it's just
Yes.
like the dream of like figuring out how to, because I also had similar dreams of like, hey, this music, this lifestyle. It's a different mindset than like, how do I graduate? How do I get out of high school sooner so I can get into college and do the things I want? Are you still able to like connect with him? Very clearly driven, but it's different than how you were driven at that age. Like, is there ever any, because it's like different from how your mind works. Is that ever anything?
I would say in the last year, we've been able to connect more because even though we took it from different, we took different approaches, it's ultimately the same. It's knowing what you want at the end and just like going for it. And
that's cool.
Just taking a leap of faith and saying, and like he's trying to be the governor of Key Club. And it's super funny is maybe like 6 months ago. No, I guess it was before he was driving. But anyway, I took him to he was going to Six Flags with his Key Club, and I took him to drop him off. And as I was dropping him off, I'm like, "That's the mayor." And then when he got home, I was like, "What was the mayor doing?" He's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "Al?" Like, "Oh yeah," he's like, he was part of the trip. He's the co-sponsor. I'm like, "You went to Six Flags with the mayor?" I'm like, "And you just didn't mention that?" It's like, "Yeah." I was like, "So wait," I'm like, hold on, time out. You gotta like put that as a reference,
Yeah.
That's
that can
that's
help
important.
you in some ways. Yeah.
That's important. It just like brushes it off. Like, yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, I think like I have similar moments with my kids, in which like the path they want to take is one where I'm like, what the hell are you doing? But then like if I take a step back, I'll see myself in all of their actions or see like the same drive that I have in some way. And it's cool to be able to like look up and be like, oh, there's just so many ways to live your life, so many ways to do something. Like, let me understand your energy and your goals and like figure it out with you. And maybe like, similar to that of like, hey man, just so you know, like you might be able to use the mayor as a reference point later on, or he might have resources for you that you have access to because he's a freaking mayor. And like, he probably wants to help you if he's willing to go to freaking Six Flags with you, man.
Right. Yeah, it was like brushed it off, like whatever. Like riding roller coasters with the mayor. All right. That's cool.
I've talked to a mayor before too, but I've never gone on a roller coaster with a mayor. So now I know a new goal for my day-to-day life is how do I go to Six Flags or Holiday World with the mayor? That's really
Holiday World, dude. That's where I spent every summer. That was our vacation.
Yeah,
we stayed in Jasper.
Yep, Jasper, man. I think Jasper was about an hour drive from my hometown. Yeah, I definitely have memories of like us buying like cold fried chicken or something like that, eating at the parking lot of Holiday World, and then running in because like my parents could afford the Holiday World tickets, but they couldn't afford the food prices inside Holiday World.
Totally. Yeah, my parents would save up all year. That was our vacation. I mean, even though it was what 2.5 hours, whatever it was.
Yeah,
like it's not far. That's where we vacation. I have a younger brother who's disabled. He was in a tragic accident when he was 9. I was 14, and so he's he has like the mental capacity of like maybe a 5-year-old, 4 or 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So he lives his life in a wheelchair, right? But his like short-term memory is awful. He won't remember what he did 3 minutes ago, but he remembers pre-accident. So my parents have continued that trip. So once a year, they still take him to Holiday World because it's just so special to him. Yeah. So like that's his thing is like he loves Holiday World. Yeah.
One of my friends who still lives in Evansville is in like a little band where they play around town, and they actually play Holiday World like every Friday during the summer. And they did a cover of Pour Some Sugar on Me, but they did it as Pour Some Gravy on Me, and like got to film a music video at Holiday World. And I'm like, what is your life right now? And he's like, I mean, it's a fun gig, but people are there to have fun and have a good time. But you're the first person who would have understood how ridiculous of a story that is to film a music video at Holiday World. Like, it's just part
It's
of your everyday life.
incredible.
Like, this, you do this all the time.
That's incredible. First of all, I'm jealous because that's such an amazing idea. I want to do that.
Yes. Yes.
Man, that sounds fun. That sounds so fun.
It's so good. So anyway, man, how I end every episode is ask every guest a series of 5 questions. They aren't rapid fire. You do have time to think about them. The first question is, did you have any backup names for your kids? Like, did you have any names that you almost named your kids?
So for Via, if she was a male, I was lobbying for Holden from Catcher in the Rye.
Catcher in the Rye? Yep.
But she's named after, if you ask her mom, she's named Via because her mom liked the name Mia, but wanted to do it with V. If you ask me, she's named after Via Chicago, a Jeff Tweedy Wilco song. So
yeah, yep.
I got to tell Jeff Tweedy that story.
Did you really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Also, like, the most Illinois thing ever to be like, hey, Jeff Tweedy, like, I'm going to name my daughter after one of your songs.
That's almost verbatim how it happened. We were at an event while Via's mother was pregnant, and her mother's grandfather introduced me to Jeff Tweedy, and I was like shaking. I love Jeff Tweedy, you know?
Of course.
I love him.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah.
hey, and in fact, he asked me, I was like, I'm from Southern Illinois. And he said, where are you from? I couldn't remember. I could not remember Oblong. No. Yeah, I was like, and then he said to me, "Are you from Belleville?" I said, "No, that's where you're from." And then he just was like, "Yeah, we're trying to figure out where you're from." But then I was like, "Yeah," I'm like, I said,
Jeff Tweedy also has such like a chillness to him that I could see him just being like, "No, man, I'm trying to like be very politely like reprimanding you at the same time."
Yes, that's what. And then I said, we're naming her, you know, after Via Chicago. She's gonna be named Via, and he said, I'm honored. And like, and I was like, you know, like all the blood rushed to my feet. And
yeah. I would. Jeff Tweedy, especially since he plays, like, his kids are old enough where he like plays with them. Like they have like a little side band together. I'm like, how do I convince your publicist that I'm worth your time? I'm not going to. But Jeff Tweedy, if in the ether you hear this, hey, you want to come talk about being a dad? That'd be great. That'd be fantastic.
You should try. I'm going to go see him in March. He's playing in Ventura, like with his kids, you know, like
that's cool. Yeah.
25 minutes away.
Put in a good word for me. Yeah, just put in
I'll
a good
let him
word
know.
for me. Just say.
I'll say, you remember Via?
Do you remember Via?
I'm not from Belleville.
Do you remember that? He'll know every detail.
Yeah.
Next question. Do you have a favorite TV or movie dad?
Like everything that's coming to mind is not a father.
What came to mind? What was it that was not a father?
I have no idea, but it was Walter Sobchak from Big Lebowski. I don't know why. Yeah, he's not a father.
He is not a father.
No.
Okay, I'll give you a backup one then. What's like your least favorite kids show? Like whenever your kids would watch it, you'd be like, even still, like, this is a piece of crap. I do not want to watch this at all.
It's been a while, but I'll Wow Wubsy.
What? I've never even heard of that one.
Yeah, my kids are a little older, so but Via would watch Wow Wubsy 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 Wow, and it would drive me fucking nuts. I hated it. I hated it so much, and like I can recall the theme song on my head right now, and I'm just seething.
Yeah. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite questions to ask people because it does elicit such a unique anger and frustration and disappointment. Where you're like, why was this person teaching my kids something for so long? I hate this stuff.
The rage was innate. You know, if you saw it, like it came out. I was ready. I was ready for that one.
That's your like WWE intro song to get you amped, ready to fight someone. You're walking into the ring. That's why you put on that stuff and you're like, I will murder anyone right now.
Yeah.
Next question is, did you ever have a go-to replacement curse word? Or did you just curse?
We just talked like normally around her. And that was, at least around me, she was allowed to speak freely.
Mm-hmm.
I never really implemented any censorship. I talked to her whole life like she was an adult. I worked the first 5 or 6 years of her life. Her mom worked nights. and excuse me. I worked nights. Her mom worked days. So we were just the two of us were together all day, every day, until she started school. So we would just do I would just scoop her up and we would just do whatever, just the two of us. And then I would go to work at night. And we she was just like my little buddy, so I just talked to her like a dude, like my friends.
Yeah. I do that. I've always done it with my kids also. I might do like a higher registry of my voice, but I don't like talk down. It's like, hey, go do I talk to them like there's someone who can understand what's happening. So, yeah.
Because they can't.
Yeah.
They understand. You don't have to speak to them like, they're, I would say animal, but I think animals are sentient as well. So,
yes, I think the intent is like, hey, I want to make sure you can comprehend what I'm communicating. I think that's the intent. But like, I think everyone understands and is paying more attention than we realize, is what having children has always taught me.
I concur.
And then next question, what's like one of your favorite activities to do with your kids besides teaching them to drive?
I like taking both of them to see movies. That's particularly old movies. We have a Regal near us that will show like older things. I took my son last year to see. So this is funny. I had never seen it before, which is odd, but I had never seen The Matrix before. So we went to watch. So I got to experience The Matrix for the very first time with him, in theater. And that's such a great experience, such a great memory. And the same with Via, like we have similar taste in movies. So like we just saw Marty Supreme last week and together. And like around Thanksgiving, we went to go see Holdovers like again together. Like we both love that movie. And it's just like to really dig into the emotions of something and share that shared experience is just so beautiful. Like to walk out of the theater, like a couple tears in your eyes and being like, man, that was special.
That's so cool. No, that's I can't wait until my kids get older and which like the content of the movies can be greater. Because like kids movies are better than they used to be. Like Encanto is like a tearjerker. It makes me cry every time I watch it. But like going to see like a Christopher Nolan film with one of my kids and then walk out and be like, that cinematography was insane. Like the framing was insane. The performances were genius. Like it's just different than like, how did you feel about when the cartoon character did this?
Right. You're able to get it, to dig in at the essence and like and share that. It's so cool. You're going to love it.
That's awesome. I can't wait. And then last question is like, when you think about your kid's life and all that, is there any moment where you're like really excited for them to like enter into this phase of life, or like, man, I can't wait until you get to this part of your like journey and all that?
I have enjoyed every single phase. I've loved every. So like along the way, in the moment, I feel like, this is definitely my favorite. This is like my favorite time. A toddler, like I said, you can scoop them up and just take them. They have no choice. They're just with you. But then we keep discovering new things that are also beautiful. And so I kind of peeled back on like what to look forward to because I've enjoyed so much and exploring things with them, like going to shows with my daughter, like just like seeing things, like experiencing live music together. It's just been awesome. But if 10 years ago I would have said it's so cool to just take her and watch like the ships roll in, like how can this be any better, like eating tortilla chips together, and just like having an afternoon. But it just continuously like evolves, and it just every phase is great. And I think you'll find that too as your kids get older. It's like just like every phase is special, and all the bullshit that everyone said didn't happen. Like all the horror stories, everyone tells you is like, oh, when they hit this age, this is gonna be tough. Watch out for this. Wait till your daughter hits puberty. You're gonna have a shotgun and all that. It's like that's all just garbage. Like none of that happened. It's all been amazing.
I think if you're not paying attention, it happens. I think if you aren't like, because it sounds like for every phase of life, you've tried to find the wonder, you've tried to find the excitement, and try to find like, hey, what's like, this is really cool. I can't believe this. But like, if you do think, hey, when my daughter turns 14, she's going to be a terrorist, then you start to treat her like one, like, and so like if you're actually paying I don't mean that with a condescension. It sounds like if you are paying attention, if you are present to the moment, it's actually not as bad. It's only whenever I want to do other stuff I dislike my kids. Whenever I don't want to be in the moment, I'm like, get me out of here. I want to do other stuff. And then suddenly my kids are really annoying. That's like, but yeah, anyone's going to be annoying too if you don't want to be where you are. So recenter, figure it out.
Totally. I concur.
But I'm with you though. I feel like people will be like, yeah, because I have 2 daughters. There's going to be a year in which they're 16 and 14. Like at some part of me, like, oh, what's that going to be like? Yeah, but also like, it's going to be fine, man. Just pay attention. Just be here and you'll be okay.
Be locked in and have that open door, whatever, open door policy. It's kind of a generalization, but like let them know that you're there for them and they're comfortable coming to you and you're not going to give them a judgmental answer, or react a certain way, because that's so important that they truly trust you, that when they come to you, like you're not going to have a off the wall reaction,
Yep. And I think that takes just being centered yourself and knowing like, hey man, you're the stability here and you're the one who lets them know that they're okay. So learn how to get there.
100%. I agree.
And then last thing is just like moment for self-promotion. If you want to like find your music, follow you on Instagram, any of that stuff, all that good stuff.
Sure. If you you can find me on Bandcamp. If Christopher Lee Lewis, you can find just Lewis, Lewis on Bandcamp. Instagram is Christopher_Lee_Lewis. Yeah, Christopher Lee Lewis on Instagram. And then the Kinison, we're May 29th at the Glass House in Pomona. What's incredibly special about this show is that we worked it out to where it's 21 years to the exact date the last time we played the Glass House.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
21 is I'm not superstitious necessarily, but 21's special to me. My daughter's born the 21st. Like, so 21 is like pretty special. It's sentimental. So it just all lined up like exactly 21 years to the day since the last Glass House show.
That's cool.
So and we've been preparing and tons of rehearsals, and we're all like the 5 of us in a really good spot. So I'm super excited about that.
That's cool. That's great.
This has been amazing. I love this. So thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. Thanks for being willing to come on. Thanks for talking dad life and all the fun stuff that comes with it. And thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck with your internet.
Thank you so much. I need all the luck I can get. Have a good one.
Yeah. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Imperfect Dads Podcast. And make sure to give us 5 stars wherever you listen to us. Music, editing, and production is all done by me. Make sure to tune in on Mondays and most Thursdays for new episodes. This podcast is part of the Never at Face Network. Make sure to go to neveratfacenetwork.com to learn more about them.